Sure thing. My name is Kwan, and I'm from Vancouver, BC, Canada. I was born in Hong Kong, but grew up in Vancouver. For the last 8 years, I've been living in Seoul, South Korea. I currently work as a presentations and marketing consultant. I also talk about leadership and business on the radio. I'm a voiceover actor for TV and radio, and I've taught English here in Korea too. Actually, I was an English teacher in Vancouver for a couple of years before coming to Korea. And I've taught a lot of English classes, primarily for executives and business people here in Korea as well. Most of my classes have been one-to-one classes, but I also teach groups too. I think there are a lot of advantages of learning English. First of all, English is one of the primary global languages, so learning English will open doors to the rest of the world. And even if you don't plan on leaving your own country, being able to communicate in English will give you extra confidence just knowing that you can speak English. It'll also be a great feeling being able to enjoy watching a movie and understanding what's being said, or helping out some confused tourist. If you have a job, being the person your boss and coworkers can rely on to help with an English-speaking client or customer is awesome for your career. From a professional standpoint, you're a much more valuable employee if you can speak English, or any other language for that matter, because you can do something that will genuinely help your company. So there are definitely a lot of advantages of learning English, but I think those are the main ones. I think everyone wants a quick shortcut to learning English, and it's not easy to find something that works. But one of the best methods I've seen is from a guy called Tim Ferriss. Tim Ferriss, in case you've never heard of him, is the author of a great book called The 4-Hour Workweek. He's a truly smart guy that is great at hacking different skills, and language learning is one of them. If you go to his blog, the4hourworkweek.com/blog, and do a search for language learning, you'll find a post he wrote titled Learn Any Language in 3 Months. And I know that sounds crazy that you could learn any language in 3 months, but if you look at his method, I think it's definitely possible. You'll have to check it out, but the gist of what he says is that language classes don't work, and that it's better to use a combination of learning the most common words using flashcards, learning grammar from books about topics you enjoy, using comics to learn dialogue, and practicing speaking with a native speaker in one-to-one sessions. If what he says still sounds a bit crazy, then I'd suggest using a combination of books and videos on topics you're interested in, and meeting native speakers who are also interested in that topic. So if you're into cars, get books or magazines about cars, and start watching videos online about cars. And if you're in an English-speaking country, then join a car club or take a course on car repair or something car-related. Doing that will keep you interested because you like the topic, and it won't seem like you're learning English. It'll just seem like you're having fun learning about something you already like. To a certain degree, yes, I think they'd help, but since it's mainly text-based, they'll help you improve your understanding of casual communication and slang, things like that. Twitter is good for learning how to communicate clearly because you only have 140 characters, so I quite like it. Facebook is good for meeting new people, and I think the groups would be helpful. What you could do is join a group that uses only English that you're interested in, and that would be a fun way to communicate with people. The negative part of Facebook and Twitter is that it's too easy to only use them and not physically interact with real people. Other than that, if you like using Facebook and Twitter, go ahead. Anything is better than nothing, you know what I mean? First of all, I'm very biased when it comes to technology because I love all gadgets and stuff like that. So When you ask if mobile devices are good for learning English, then I'm going to say yes for sure. The toughest part will be figuring out what to use actually. There are just so many great apps for learning, but I think people should use a mobile device to do some of the stuff I said earlier when you asked about tips and tricks. Personally, I think of my iPhone as a mobile learning center, and I use it to read and listen to learning material. The challenging part is to actually have the discipline to use your mobile device for learning rather than just for entertainment. But if you're learning and being entertained at the same time, then go for it. If I had to recommend something, then I'd suggest listening to and watching podcasts. They're totally free and cover pretty much any topic you can think of. So just choose something you're interested in and start listening. What you can then do is improve your listening skills by doing dictation. On iPhones, you can set the playback speed to half speed so that can make things easier. I'd also recommend downloading Dragon Dictation, which is a free speech-to-text app. And what you can do is improve your pronunciation by speaking into your phone and seeing if the app can recognize what you say. If it can't, then keep trying until you get the app to understand you. Try words and short sentences, because even though the app is quite good, it's not always perfect, but it can be a huge help. So as far as mobile devices are concerned, definitely use them, but use them wisely. That's actually a funny question for Korea, because the question should be, why would you not learn English if you live in Korea? But in all seriousness, Korea and other Asian countries are rapidly growing in terms of business and opportunities for work and business. And the thing is, you can't expect people to learn Korean or whatever your own native language is, because most of the world is going to work and do business in English. In Korea, there's definitely a gap in terms of opportunities and earnings between people that can speak English and those that can't. It's sad, and I often feel bad that people are kind of forced to learn English, but that's reality. If you look at the Scandinavian countries like Sweden, Finland, and Norway, they knew that to survive and be competitive, they have to speak other languages, English being one of them. So even if you never leave Korea or Japan or Malaysia or Vietnam or wherever, having the ability to speak English, like I said earlier, will be an invaluable skill that will help you in more ways than you can think. So find your own motivation and take the advice and tips I talked about and take action. You know, nobody's time is infinite, and the universe rewards those that are proactive. So do it today and every day, which is good advice for life in general. No problem. It was fun. Thank you for having me.